and welcome everyone to Nerd TV for another Wednesday night full throttle sim racing series race for the Martin Sports Truck Series. This time coming at you live from the simulated New Hampshire Motor Speedway, where these guys are going to try to tackle 150 laps around this 1 mile facility. Track temps right now blistering 110 degrees Fahrenheit, 79 in the skies. 53% humidity, partly cloudy, and right now just see kind of in the background, it looks kind of shaded because, well, it's partly cloudy and some cloud coverage in the area right around the sun. And then 5-mile-an-hour winds tonight here coming from the west, so probably won't play any factor because this is a really fast short track, so don't see that being an issue tonight. My name is Jeremy Stanley, and to my right-hand side, which he has been here for all of season 2023B, is Mr. Jason Rockefeller, and to the right of him, Mr. Dustin Loxton. Both of you guys, welcome.
I mean, here we go, New Hampshire. I know it's not everybody's favorite short track type racetrack. If you really want to call it a short track, it's just a little bit over a mile, 1.0 or 1. Yeah, I think 1.058 miles long. Yeah, 1.058 miles long. But it's a short track, nevertheless. I mean, obviously, this track's really wide, really one groove, but you can use different grooves depending on the way that you arc down to the corners. I expect tonight's race to be a very good race, especially if these guys are going to be running from fourth, sometimes to third gear, depending on how they run, if they want to eat up their tires or not. But nevertheless, should be a good race here.
Yeah, I mean, I really like this place. It might get boring at times as a driver, but just like New Hampshire has that strip 3 lanes up that's not as used. It's a little darker, so it's a little newer, and it has some extra grip, especially on iRacing. So you have options of running the flat there at the bottom. If you got a truck that's really rotating well, you can utilize the flat to get going, just kind of like how you saw the real world guys do it at North Wilkesboro, especially Kyle Larson. He drove completely on the flat and was able to rotate the car real nicely. The middle, the 1 and 2, those 2 lanes, those are what most people are going to run. Some are going to slide to the third, but some might venture into that 3rd and 4th lane, get their tires into the darker stuff and prevail. We'll have to find out though. I haven't seen a race since last year here, so I don't know what's changed to make the physics any different for iRacing, but we're going to see it here. And we did start the broadcast a little late. That's why we're kind of keeping our cameras on through the qualifying session. Dustin, what you got in store for us this evening?
I tell you what, it's New Hampshire poses some great racing. Like you said, it's if you can run it right, you can run down even below that apron. We've seen it in the SOF C fixed race. Peyton Howell was running down there on the iRacing platform. So I mean, it can be done. You got to have the setup for it. I mean, tires are going to be a big thing on this one here because depending on how they drive, I mean, drivers can sit here and smoke that right front tire on their entry. They can sit here and just overdrive it and just burn up that right rear if it's loose off. So tires are going to be a high commodity at this track tonight for sure.
Yeah, 100% here. We did not cover last week's race due to an SDK issue globally. So, but Richie Coy did win last week for those who are just tuning in. And now we're going to see what he can do to try to repeat, go back to back here. As we got a new driver in the field, part of the new team Nerd2's Motorsports. I'm going to be Brandon Gagnon, if I pronounced that right. Dustin, did I do so correct?
You did good. You did very good.
Hey, I did it. Nice. If you tuned in last night for the RSR stuff, we were butchering names left and right, so I'm glad to get 1 for 1 here tonight. But right now, top of the boards, Brody Hanna and Bobby Terrell, Richie Coy, all 3 Fury Motorsports, 1, 2, 3. And then you got the really fast guy, the 28 Cody McKinney, sitting at 4 so far.
Yeah, and honestly, this is really kind of like that get on the grind, get up on the saddle and ride the horse, for these next few races, because it's the 7th race of Season B. And after tonight, there's only going to be 6 races left, with next week being Pocono. Cannot wait for that track. So that's going to be a fun one. But the point being is that the points gap between first and second, between Richie Coy right now, who took over the points lead last week after Mid-Ohio, and Cody McKinney, who's been super stout all season long, from the end of Season A all the way to the start of Season B. 1 point. Only 1 point separates those guys right now, and they are flying ahead of the rest of the field right now. Brody Hanna back by 55 points in third. JP Burns fourth with minus 63. And then rookie Mark Brannigan Jr. minus 86 right now. So really it's just a race between those two guys. Unless both of them have a really bad race, Jeremy, within these next 6 races, and these guys consistently from third to fifth in the points do very solid, they can catch them and they can be in the hunt for this Season B title.
Yeah, 100%. And as you were talking there, our driver, Brandon Gagnon, gets the top of the charts at a 30.103, so 4/100ths faster than second place. Brody Hanna knocks Fury Motorsports down just a notch, but still great performance for them, doing 2, 3, and 4. Then Tyler Brown split the gap between Richie and Cody, putting himself in the top 5 as we got about 40 seconds left in the session. 5 trucks not putting times down. I don't see them getting on the track, so I think that's going to lock in things here. But how do you feel about this race, Jason? I know you said it's not someone's favorite. How do you feel about this track overall?
Couple races here a couple years ago, I actually ran it. It was either second or third to, I believe, in all honesty, I ran third to Alex Palou. He finished second in front of me. So I guess the fact that I was able to keep up with him was a solid effort. But then again, it was not exactly my forte. This track's very tricky. It's flat, it's one of those flat tracks that we go to, and you can really rotate the corner better. There's basically 2 things here that's going to be key. One, Dustin already talked about it, tires, and then the way that you exit and enter a corner. If you enter the corner super hard, you risk that right front sliding, you risk lockup and whatnot. You could slide up the track, killing that right front ever so more every single lap. The more you do it over and over again. So you have to be easy. You have to be smooth on entry, be very consistent. And then off the corner, obviously, you're going to have a lot of wheel spin on the right rear. Even if you dip your left sides right below that yellow line onto that granite surface right there, it's going to be really, really tough to drive off. So you have to take care of the right sides.
Yeah, 100% there. And it is our time now to get our faces off the screen. These trucks are gritting up on the front stretch here. So to run down the starting order here, Brandon Gagnon going to be starting P1. Brody Hanna is going to be starting in second place. Bobby Trail third. Richie Coy fourth. Tyler Brown fifth. Cody McKinney in sixth. Lane Allen in seventh. Brandon Elder in eighth. Sherwood Williford in ninth. And tonight's 10th place starting truck, Marshall Johnson.
Tonight, Sylvain Jolly coming off a top 10 at Mid-Ohio. Then TJ Bartell starts 12th in the 75 Nerditudes Chevrolet right there. Almost said Camaro. Starting 13th tonight, Ryan Chapman in the number 27 machine. Always looking good as usual. Starting 14th, Fury Motorsports driver Tony Solari. 15th, Colby Mice in the 8. 16th, Stephen Hollingsworth in the number 5. 17th, Tommy Schaefer in the 29 machine. Robert Milikian in the 16 machine. 19th, Joey McKinney in the 18. And rounding out the top 20, James Torrey in the 6.
Yep, and then 21st is going to be Michael Blackner, and 22nd, Alan Duranco. Rounding out tonight's 22 truck lineup, which I think this is the smallest field we've seen all season. You did mention New Hampshire's not, everyone's favorite, so that might be part of it. But when you had 22 trucks, that's your lowest count in your field all season long. You're doing something right. They consistently run right in the 30s. But it's mid-season. You don't expect every single person to start every single race, and that's typical for most places. So no worries there whatsoever. But these times being so close to each other, Jason, I'm expecting some awesome racing here. I'm hoping for some side-by-side. I know you got to conserve some tires here, but coming to New Hampshire, I'm really just, excited to see this. And Scott Martin popping in on the Facebook chat saying, just tuning in to see if my logo pops up. Well, if you tune in long enough, you're going to see it more than a few times there, sir, because, well, you're a part of this series and you're a partner for Nerditude, so I'm glad you're tuning in, though.
Yeah, and just in case Scott didn't see, his logo was in big red lettering there in the beginning of the broadcast, obviously being the premier sponsor here for the FTSR Truck Series. Definitely go check out their website over there for all your apparel needs. But yeah, Jeremy, this is going to be a really interesting race. I really do expect the right side tires to be probably the biggest thing that we talk about tonight. And long run speed, we don't really see too many short runs here at New Hampshire anymore. This has become a very, very long, stretched out race. I expect the same thing here tonight.
Yeah, we're about to find out here. FTSR does not like cautions, and here we go. Green flag in the 38. I don't know what Dustin put underneath that hood, but he just took off like a cannon, clears everyone by 3 to 4 truck lengths entering turn number 1, and he's quickly going to go to the second to third groove, avoiding the bottom.
Yeah, and that 38 must have Harry Hodge up on the box right now from Days of Thunder. They're 3 wide in the back, settling it back now to 2 wide. That's Richie Coy side by side with Tyler Brown. Those guys ran 1-2 last week as Brown slides up in the middle of the corner. Oh, he gets a little bit of a bump. Up the racetrack he goes, able to save it right there. 3, 4 wide off the corner.
No.
Oh, Bartel
And here
up
he
into
goes.
the wall.
Oh, Tony Solari, heavy impact, and then a couple of trucks pile in. The number 18, Joseph McKinney, slams the back of the 11 of Tony Solari, and it looked like also the 00 Tyler Brown involved in this thing. So 4 to 5 trucks injured on lap 1.
It was really just an instance. I don't know what happened right there to the 00. We're going to have to look back even further before this. But yeah, that's just a product of those guys trying to get around Tyler Brown. The 75 thought he was going to be clear. And then obviously you start going straight right there off turn number 4 and collects Tony Solari, one of the guys who's been so strong recently for Fury. And then obviously finished top 10 last week. Look right here off the corner. Man, that was close for Sylvain Jolly and Stephen Hollingsworth right there off turn number 4. They made a little bit of contact. No damage to those trucks, though, from the other ones involved.
It almost looked like the 75 of Bartel thinking that Tyler Brown was going to be, clear of his right rear there. So he came up to the corner exit. Then Tyler was still there. So he met up with him at that 3 wide point and just kind of, going same real estate type of deal. Nothing intentional or whatnot. And I got word from the admins at the 38 of Brandon Gagnon jumped the start apparently. Did not go at the green flag, so that's why he took off a little bit earlier than everybody else. So we'll see what they have to do with him in the field. But you see on their TV replay, still going over the wreck here. Just the whole front end of Tony came off. Quite a few trucks with severe damage, multiple minutes repair. We're going to take another look at normal speed, 00 Ty Brown. There's the initial part, just huge wiggle. Excellent save overall there. And just still wiggling, almost looked like he had a tire issue, and then just came on exit and everything pinched up to the top, and chaos ensued.
That was one of the most awkward wiggles I have seen in quite a while. I could have swore just this past week since broadcasting the Atlanta races, I think we saw a very awkward wiggle, whether it be an RSR or the FTSR. But that by far takes the cake. I have not seen a wiggle like that here on the sim racing servers in a very long time. It's like he just hit in the center of a corner. It's like all of a sudden, it's like he just hit something. And he just went up the racetrack, got loose. But one heck of a save, though, by Tyler Brown. Need to say, that could have been a truck that would have went around and taken out a lot of good trucks throughout the middle to back part of the field. But thank gosh that there wasn't more trucks involved. Only Tony Solari, Stephen Hollingsworth, Sylvain Jolly, they got a little bit of damage. Solari obviously having some of the worst, and obviously TJ Bartel, who was hooked there in the right rear. But, lap 1, Jeremy, I guess I had that commentator's curse, said that this is going to be a more stretched out race. And we already have a caution on lap 1.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of different things going on there, and restarts are still really bunched up, and so after we see a couple laps, I think to what you said earlier is going to happen, where they're going to have a really long green flag run. But when you have an issue like that, when people haven't got the time to space out yet, things happen in a hurry, even at a track that you're only doing 100 miles an hour through the corners. But these guys are wound back up. We have a quarter of a lap left before we're going to go back to green flag. Going to be restarting on lap 6. Brandon Gagnon still going to be starting this thing first. Brody Hanna is going to be still starting second place. But Cody McKinney already up 3 spots into third on this restart here.
Yeah, there's a few guys, too. Alan Duranko up 7. He's in 15th. Robert Milicki in there. He's in 13th. A lot of guys making headway already early on.
And here we go back to green flag here. Much better restart here for your race leader. Heads up turn number 1, Cody McKinney already trying to battle Brody Hanna for second place, and he might dip his nose underneath Brandon here off of turn 2. Does not make the pass happen, at least. Still side by side for second and third.
Second and third, the battle continuing on. Cody McKinney trying to pick up another spot. Almost gets tagged in the right rear by Richie Coy. Entering turn 3, trying to see who gets the best drive off. The outside can work, but the bottom tends to roll a lot better. They're still side by side, this time by the line. Lap 7 up in the air. That time by 31.801. for the new rookie for Nerd Motorsports there. P1 right now up on the board. He posted fast lap. Oh, one car around. That's Bobby Terrell.
Heavy damage, just directly hits the guardrail on the bottom there of the back stretch, and no caution because he quickly avoided the field there. And so he is slow to roll back as we're instantly on Nerd TV replay, and there he just straight up just got loose and no control, man. Just, there's not much room there. Hits the wall directly, and that's all she wrote there.
It's just a product. Whoa! Saving it. Brody Hanna off turn number 2. Got to the inside of Brandon there off turn number 2, and he had to catch the truck right there from snapping loose and collecting the 38. That was a near miss right there. But back to the 4-car, Jeremy, that was just a product of driving on the right rear too hard off the corner, and unfortunately a spin for Bobby Terrell. I wonder if it's because this track is not concrete, as we deem him the name Concrete Bobby Terrell, this track being asphalt. And Brandon, and there goes Brandon Elder.
And
oh my
Brian
goodness,
Chapman.
He saves it. They all save it right there.
This track surface is still 112 degrees, and so we're seeing exactly what that entails here on a flat surface. 113 now as it picked up a temperature. But man, Ryan Chapman and Brandon Elder, both excellent saves. Brandon almost put it in the grass that time. So we got 4 trucks, are at lap 10 right now, already having a lot of handling issues.
But handling, wouldn't be surprised right here off turn number 2 if you see more drivers get loose. Yep, there goes Brandon Elder again, but he's able to save it. This guy somehow, some way, he likes to save those trucks a lot. And this 51 machine has been bad fast recently. These last few weeks just hasn't really been able to get it done. Coming off a top 10 for Mid-Ohio as well, just 1 week ago, I believe. And it was very, very interesting. So, I mean, everybody's just really loose right now, Jeremy. Track temperature 112 to 113 degrees. I expect this temperature to probably go down here as the race progresses. And as these guys continuously put rubber on it, it's just going to get hotter out there, though, as well, with the hot rubber being laid down.
Yeah, now on your screen you see the top 5. They actually got a little bit of space there before you get to the 6th place truck there and Ryan Chapman. So a little bit of separation for some guys, but the mid-pack is still a lot of side-by-side action overall. And oh, the 33 makes some contact with the 9. And he goes around, and the caution is out here for the second time, presented by Roasted Jim's Coffee. That's the 9 of Marshall Johnson. Gets tagged in the left rear corner panel, entering turn 1 by the 33. Brings up the second caution.
Yeah, I think right there that might have just been the 33 getting into the corner a little too hard. We're going to take a look here on the Nerd TV replay. Coming into the corner, slowing it down. Dustin with all the great shots, as always. Yeah, 33 just drives in a little too hard, but the 9 started to arc, and yeah, just obvious right there. Sherwood just drove it in a little too hard, got down on the bottom a little bit more than probably the truck wanted to. Unfortunately, makes contact right there with Marshall Johnson, but great job by everybody to avoid that. I want to say it was Michael Blackner who probably just barely avoided the number 9 by chance. And into 1, here we go, taking a look at one of the trucks. This is Tommy Schaefer right here, just barely gets by. Another driver right back there. Like I said, not too sure who it was, but it was another driver obviously behind him. A lot of guys could have been involved in that, but thankfully they all went down to the bottom and everybody was able to save it.
Yeah, everybody gathered up, and some people are already electing to take one of their 4 sets of tires that they have complete here tonight. About 5 or 6 trucks electing to do so. We're going to kick it over to a quick picture-in-picture commercial break because these guys have a few more laps before we go back to green flag. And back to full screen here as we have 3/4 of a lap remaining before we're going to go back to green flag action here on lap 17. Brandon Gagnon still going to be starting P1. Brody Hanna still P2. Cody still P3. So not much has changed within the top 5. But there was still a lot of mix up there from, essentially 10th on back. There was a lot of shifting around. Hopefully Bobby Terrell in the 4 was able to get that truck repaired. He fortunately caught that caution not too long after he hit the inside guardrail there. So he's going to be restarting this thing. Still in the lead lap. Did not lose a lap. So that's really impressive all alone. But the pace car is down. Waiting for the 38 to take the green flag for the 3rd time this evening. And there it is out. Green flag is underway. Cody McKinney with an excellent start. Gets to the back bumper quickly. The 38 does lift, though, so he doesn't make any contact. Go off into turn number 1. 38 clears. P1 solo.
Oh, well, don't say that just yet. Cody McKinney fighting hard down on the inside of the racetrack. Not going to be enough, though. Still side by side with Brody Hanna. Stephen Hollingsworth, Mr. Where did he come from? As they call Kevin Harvick. He's all the way up to 4th plus 12 from where he started right now. And he's looking to try to make a move on Brody Hanna as the field kind of files out. Single file, double wide, all the way down into turn number 1. But the battle is still going on for 2nd as you ride on board with Ryan Chapman sitting in 7th.
Brody almost lost that spot, and then somehow in the middle of turn 1, getting to the apex part of the corner, just had about a 5-mile-an-hour shift in momentum and got directly side by side with Cody as they come through turn 3 and 4. Now similar story. The 23 just seems to be rotating so well in the center of the corner. That's how he's able to keep that momentum over the 28.
Yeah, and obviously, you want to try to arc those corners and get down to the bottom as good as you can. But again, you don't want to dip your left sides below that yellow line or even below that kind of granite surface too much, because that's how you get really loose off the corner. But Cody McKinney, that was about the closest he was to almost taking the lead right there off the corner, or at least being side by side. But they're starting to single file back out. You could see, though, the 38 of Brandon Gagnon, he really likes that middle lane and then kind of arcing it, getting that drive off. But that's the thing. He's going to shred that right front and then obviously that right rear off the corner. Meanwhile, Cody McKinney taking kind of that flatter entry, but he's going to burn up that right rear a lot more driving off the corner as well. So everybody's holding on for dear life, trying to make sure they can conserve these tires and be aggressive when they need to.
Sylvain Jolly, speaking of aggressive, he is keeping up with the 19 here, running him hard on the outside, going through turns 3 and 4. This time direct lead to the door, and the 19 is going to once again lead that lap over the 08 there for 5th and 6th place respectively. Now Ryan Chapman, one of our in-race reporters, presented by iRock 93.5, rock station out there in Illinois. He is putting on a good show right now, trying to just wait to see who wins this battle, because I think right now he's got one of the faster trucks. He's just biding his time right now.
You can do here at New Hampshire, as you see Richie Coy slides up, almost gets into Sylvain Jolly there in the center of 3 and 4. Sylvain gets a little loose. This could open up the door for Ryan Chapman down the front straightaway. Might look to the inside. No, he'll stay right in line. But that's the thing about New Hampshire. You got to mind your time and obviously, be patient. That's the best thing here. You're not going to pass everybody every single corner. There's not a lot of banking at this racetrack, only up to 7 degrees throughout the corners. And then obviously the front straightaway pretty flat in the back as well, only being 1 degree of banking. But, that's the thing. If you're not patient enough, you can burn up those tires a lot. Wait for the guys up in front of you to burn up those tires and only push the truck when you really need to.
Yeah, 100% there, as the entire field right now is single file. And Jason, like you said at the pre-race there, this is probably going to be one of the green flag runs that we're going to kind of figure out how to set up for stage 2 coming up here. Top 2, Cody McKinney, though, and Brandon Gagnon are just nose to tail. I think Cody has the speed over Brandon early on here on lap 24. But the way Brandon is running these corners, it's really just protecting his line. So Cody's got to figure something out as they space themselves away from 3rd on back.
I think if Cody wants to try, he's got a massive run here off turn 2. I think what McKinney needs to do is he needs to go a little bit higher than the 38 does. He did that time around. 38 actually can't get to the bottom as good as he's been recently. You see McKinney looking to the inside, not enough. Gagnon gets the run off turn number 4 there, but McKinney needs to try to run a little bit higher line, but that 38 is doing the same thing. He's taking his line away, and I guarantee you Cody McKinney's going to get a little impatient with that. Almost near contact
Oh,
off turn
man.
number 2. He is all over the rear tailgate of that number 38 Nerditudes Toyota Tundra.
If he didn't make contact, that was about as close as you get without making contact. We're going to see the bumper cam off of turn 4. If he can do the same thing, and there he does. He just gets such a great launch off these corner exits, but playing the patient game, not trying to drive to the bottom just yet, as Brandon gets a little bit of advantage on the entrance. But watch this corner exit. He gets lower than the 38, but on corner exit, he just has so much more drive off, and now he's side by side with Brandon.
By side for the race lead, down into 3. It's going to be a battle of who can hold their line the best. McKinney slides up, tries to pull the slide job. He's going to complete it without sliding up completely. 38 trying to come back at him right now, closing in that gap just a little bit, but it's not enough. Cody McKinney to the race lead. The driver only back by 1 point from the points lead behind Richie Coy. This is just the night that he needs here tonight, as you see your points leader, Richie Coy, battling side by side with Stephen Hollingsworth there, who almost brushes the wall off turn number 2 that time around.
Stephen Hollingsworth, part of Virtual Racing Team, started 16th. He's already inside the top 5 in 4th place as he's battling Richie Coy still. It looks like he's going to be able to get him cleared momentarily coming to turn 1. He's not going to dive to the bottom. The 19's going to hold on for another lap or so. But this 5 truck is bad fast early on.
Yeah, it is bad fast for sure. Already plus 11, now plus 12. You see him neck and neck down the back straightaway with Coy. This is the battle for the 4th position as Coy enters turn 3 a little bit lower, going to drift up, try to get that arc off the corner. He'll get the advantage, slides up a little bit almost into Hollingsworth, but these guys are still side by side at the start-finish line. Too close to call pretty much there for me. I think Hollingsworth might have got it by not a quarter panel, but a splitter right there. But Jeremy, this is the great thing about New Hampshire Motor Speedway. When you get side by side, and this is what I praised the old 750 horsepower low downforce package when the NASCAR Cup Series used to running here, and it's what still makes the Xfinity Series so good here, is because you have no downforce. So it's really about who has the best on throttle time, who can get to the corner the smoothest, who has the best exit, and it provides such good side-by-side racing. I go back and think of the 2021 race it was between Brad Keselowski, Ryan Blaney, and I think Kevin Harvick. They had one heck of a battle for the race lead early on in that race. So don't be surprised if you see a lot of guys staying side-by-side for long periods of time here tonight.
Yeah, 100%. And there's a couple of guys in the back that have already started to find their tires on the darker pavement there, 4 lanes up. The 2 of Duranco, the 9 of Marshall Johnson. But they're kind of searching around here. There was some good side-by-side racing for just outside the 10th place, but momentarily there's only 2 trucks right now. The 29 and the 75 are battling it out here, as you see on the screen. That's TJ Bartel on the inside of Tommy Schaefer entering turn 3 here. Looks like the 75 has the speed, the momentum. He's going to be able to clear the 29. I want to make a quick mention, too. I kind of heard today that there's some testing with the NASCAR Cup Series. You mentioned low downforce. They got a new splitter that they're going to be putting on these cars for testing, and it's going to create lift on the front of the car. So it's going to take away some downforce, but then the car lowers itself as it gets behind someone with the lack of air pushing the car up. So, you know, the next-gen cars might be something racy here in the coming few months.
Yeah, we'll have to see here, and obviously they're going to debut it this weekend at the New Hampshire Motor Speedway. You see the 9 trying to come back. Oh, throws the Alan Duranco, almost not enough. They're side by side off the corner. Had to catch my breath for almost just a second there because the 9 almost just cleaned out Alan Duranco into turn number 3. But back to your point, Jeremy, yeah, the NASCAR Cup Series, when they come to the New Hampshire Motor Speedway this weekend, listening to Denny Hamlin's podcast, Actions Detrimental, go listen to that, folks, if you do listen to podcasts. A lot of information. Denny gives a lot of great insight as a driver and owner in the sport. But they are going to be racing a new splitter this weekend, giving the leader not so much of an advantage with kind of lift off the ground, making it really hard to control. But then obviously, Jeremy, you said once you're back behind a car, in dirty air, lap traffic, whatever you want to call it. Those cars will handle a lot better. And also the debut of a new tire as well. Hearing about 2 to 3/10 of a second more fall off time. And if from what we've been hearing, if the tire does perform well in the race this weekend for the Cup Series, they will be using that tire more than likely at Phoenix.
And I would absolutely love to see that, especially for your season finale here. But we're back on board here with the 19 of Richie Coy right behind his teammate Brody Hanna. This is for third and fourth place here, going through 1 and 2. Richie just has the little bit more long run speed as he's a little bit on the wheel there, as you see on his cockpit camera there on the upper left-hand corner of your screen. And he's going to dive it in a little bit lower again on turn 3. It just looks like that long run. Richie always brings it, no matter what kind of track it is. The long run, that's his favorite type of race. But he's got to pick up some speed. He is 4 seconds behind your race leader, Cody McKinney, 2 seconds behind second place, Brandon Gagnon. So, but we have stage break coming up in 10 laps, guys. So this is a great opportunity to figure out there's more looseness there. You don't see it on the truck, but if you saw it in the cockpit camera, Richie was sawing that wheel off the corner exit.
Yeah, and I tell you who's loving seeing this battle between the two buddies and teammates over at Fury Motorsports is the 08 of Sylvain Jolly, already up +6 from where he started here tonight. So he's looking for those two to get side by side, maybe have a little bobble or a mishap. And he's been doing a great job. Finished top 10 last week at Mid-Ohio. Always a driver, who's inside the top 10 consistently. We've seen him time and time and again do very, very well. Sometimes gets caught up in things, running races that, it's not really his forte, gets involved in other things. But most of the time, Jeremy, he's always running up at the front. So it's good to see Sylvain running up at the front, rightfully so, because he's always a fast driver. As you look at Richie Coy, he tried to get the run there off turn number 4, just wasn't enough. And this might open up the door for Sylvain Jolly into 1.
Sylvain Jolly has just been putting on a show for us tonight. So far up 6 spots right now in the top 5. And he is waiting for the 19 and the 23 to make some kind of mistake, which these guys rarely do. So coming up now with 7 laps to go at the line before the caution does fly. Sylvain, I think, has a solid chance of getting himself into 3rd place. Just got to be a little more patient for a few more laps and maybe start to attack the corners a little bit more to make that pass happen, because you want the stage points where you can get them. Right now he's got a great opportunity to make that happen.
Yeah, he definitely does, and this is definitely one of the best battles on the racetrack as Coy just barely slides across the front bumper of that number 08 Toyota Tundra. And another good battle shaping up behind them as well as Tyler Brown and Stephen Hollingsworth. Tyler was looking to the inside on Stephen there off turn number 4, and he does again here into 3 and 4. He'll put the slider back there on Stephen Hollingsworth. He'll grab that position, but gets super loose at a turn number 4. This is setting up the 5 to maybe go back down to the bottom. He'll stay in line, and Lane Allen right behind those two guys looking to pounce in case something happens between those two as well.
Does not surprise me to see the 5 kind of slide back a little bit. He was there inside the top 5 and now currently resides in 7th place. Remember, this guy started 16th, so he had to pass a bunch of trucks to get to where he was. I think after this first caution, or the next caution rather, at stage break, he's going to be one to watch out for, at least in the first half of the run. He's never like too super fast on the long runs, but if he can kind of contain himself, I think he'll be one to watch. As here we got the 23 in the 08. Sylvain finally making that move alongside Brody, who has a little bit of damage to the... Oh, and he gets loose, and they make almost... I don't know if they make...
Yeah, there was contact, yeah.
That was so close, but the 23, if he can catch the right side of his truck, he's got damage, so I think he might have slapped the wall. That's probably why the 19 cleared him, and now the 08's there.
Oh, yeah, there's heavy damage on the right side, right towards that right rear fender, right by the wheel well on that number 23 FTSR Ford F-150. Huge contact. Looking at the drone cam right there, you see that right side door. It's pretty much all the way pushed in, so it's going to affect him. At least, I tell you what, though, Jeremy, at least it's not the right front fender. No damage that we can see as you see them get around. Robert Malicki in there in the number 16 machine. He goes 1 lap down. Currently the first car 1 lap down, or the first truck, I should say, 1 lap down. He's got damage on the right side. But off turn number 2, you saw the 08 of Sylvain Jolly. He started to get super loose, into the corner. Then right on exit, he got loose. Brody Hanna got loose. And ultimately, they just met off down the back straightaway. Not really any rivalry there. As you see the 23 loose again, and that's finally going to give Sylvain the spot to go into fourth. And now he's going to try to go run down Richie Coy because he's only a second and 3/4 behind him.
Brody is loosey. He just needs to hold on for a couple more laps and not press the issue and kind of lock down as pit road is officially closed. 2 laps to go before we see stage caution.
Yeah, and with 2 laps to go before the stage caution, Brandon Gagnon, he's been so fast here tonight right out of the gate. But then ultimately, once you got about 20 laps or so, 25 laps into the run, Cody McKinney just turned on the afterburners practically once he got into the lead, and he has flown away as he takes basically the white flag for the stage in a sense, even though there obviously isn't a white flag in stage racing. We just like to say that. But he's pulled out to 3.5 seconds. And that last time around, he was faster than Brandon by about almost 1/10 of a second. Very, very slim, close margin. But I mean, Richie Coy, can't forget about him too, dear Jeremy. We talk about how Fury Motorsports is always the long run guys. Don't count Richie Coy out. He's going to be going for another win here tonight as well.
Yeah, he's got a lot of homework to do to catch that 28 for sure. As he does cross the line, waiting for 10th place to do so, and then we're going to see that caution fly here. This man's already at the backstretch, and we don't even see the caution flag yet, and it finally happened. So he has a half a lap lead over even the 10th place guy. That's pretty impressive stuff here. But the third caution is out, presented by Roasted Jim's Coffee. As these guys cycle back around and go for their pit stops once again, we're going to kick it to another picture-in-picture commercial break. Be back shortly. And back, full screen action here. There's some massive cloud coverage momentarily between the track and the sun. So this track was nice and sunny up until right now. Now it looks like there's a bunch of rain in the area. That should pass over here over the next probably 5 laps or so. Track temp still at a blistering 110 degrees. So hopefully a lot of these guys took this time, made those adjustments accordingly, because there's a lot of trucks, especially in this long run, that have some handling issues, which is why a lot of these times that New Hampshire likes to string out and have a long green flag run. It's just so much tire conservation that needs to be done. Got to take care of your stuff, and when you're loose out here with a track so hot, it's just product of this facility.
Yeah, definitely a product of the facility. And I mean, I can't believe the track temp is still up there, 109, 107, around that area right now as we take the one to go signal this time by. I just can't believe that Brandon Gagnon was able to get out in front of the 28 of Cody McKinney. We know how strong McKinney is on pit stops, usually, whether it be entry or exit. And it looked like for a split second, the 28 might have got him. We were sitting here, Jeremy, me and Dustin Bolt, we were like, I don't know, the 38 might have got him. And sure enough, Nerd Motorsports rookie Brandon Gagnon, he's able to get ahead of Richie Coy and Cody McKinney both. So I expect Brandon to probably made an adjustment in the pits, knowing that, whatever he did in stage one probably wasn't the best thing. I mean, more than likely, probably just ate up the tires running super hard. But then again, Cody was right on his bumper, just maybe didn't have the speed. So I'm sure thinking to myself that Brandon more than likely made an adjustment. Maybe he can actually defend Cody McKinney and the rest of the field this time around.
Yeah, 100% here. We're going to see what changes were made with these guys. Let's see if the 23 is able to keep up a faster pace on the long run. The green flag is out, though. The 75 has a terrible restart. I think he touched the back of the number 5, Stephen Hollingsworth, and just lost 2 truck links right away. Oh, and the 38 slides up, almost makes contact with Cody McKinney's nose. It's going to allow the 19 of Richie Coy to get to the bottom. Let's see what he can do going down the backstretch.
Yeah, side by side now, 1, 2, 3. They get single file as Hollingsworth works his way around Sylvain Jolly. That's the battle for the 4th spot. Contact made. Around goes the 0.
No.
They save it, and the 08 goes around somehow. No other cars involved. Wow, that was huge going into 3.
Just a little contact there by the 5, moves up the track, nails the 08. They both in synchrony do a slide spin, but the worst comes from the 08, as I think the 00 comes into the picture after he's about 90 degrees facing toward the infield. You see them both just slide almost at the same exact angle. The 08 locks the brakes up a little more, and here comes Tyler Brown into the picture. Absolutely nowhere to go. Actually, barely makes contact. I thought it was going to be more contact than that. It clipped almost just the tire only, and it sends the 08 around, and thankfully, no other damage was taken there.
2 guys going for the same piece of real estate. Nothing really wrong there. You're going to see here right from the camera of Tyler Brown. Oh, and the 5 actually had a lockup. That was a perfect angle right there to tell all the more of a story from what we saw. So what was thought probably on my end at least to be just, going into the corner and just driving it in a little too hard. It actually was exactly that, but a lockup pretty much caused that. You're going to see right here heading into 3, the 5 is going to get on the brakes a little bit. You see a little bit of puff of smoke coming out the rear of that truck. He's able to save it. Unfortunately, Sylvain Jolly just the victim, but really no harm, no foul put on the 5 there. Into turn number 3, really. You're just going hard. You got fresh tires. They're cold at the same time. You're still trying to get some heat in them. No real blame, just kind of a racing incident into 3 there.
It was weird, too. He locked it up, but at the same time, that truck jolted to the right real quick there. Almost looked like he was going to completely wreck himself, but straightened it out right as he got to the 08 of Sylvain Jolly. But yeah, the 08's going to be just fine. Gets another 4 set of tires. That's definitely his 2nd set. I don't know if he's on his 3rd. Remember, these guys have 4 sets of tires, including the ones they start with. And these guys are on lap 53. And I saw some guys, I think about 5 or 6 pit around lap 10, lap 15, whatever that second caution was. And then they came down for the stage break. And so you just really have to be particular with your tire wear, because some of these guys only have a set or 2 left already. And we're not even, or rather just past a third of the way in this race.
Yeah, you have to take care of those tires, even if you're a driver who's getting involved in incidents that you don't mean to be, or even if you're pushing too hard. I mean, if you're Sylvain Jolly, if you're Stephen Hollingsworth, try your hardest to not really, use up them tires as much now. Because if you're Sylvain Jolly, you already have a set pretty much gone that you can't use. So you have to be super, super duper careful on how you get around traffic, how you maintain your tires. You have to be careful here because tire wear on those right sides has meant everything so far here tonight from what it seems on those later runs.
Yeah, 100% here as we're getting some great wall cam reviews around this 1 mile New Hampshire Motor Speedway. And as we come to 1 to go here after that, TJ Bartell He's moved up quite a few spots. Look at him. He's up 8. He went from 12th place to 4th after that wreck. I'm able to make the most of that. So let's see if he can keep that momentum here in the top 5 as he finds himself in a new spot on the track.
Well, also, too, think about this, Jeremy. Yeah, there wasn't that much damage to the 75 machine after that yellow. But when you look at it, I mean, this guy has the fastest lap on the racetrack right now. So it's not like this is a fluke with him getting up to the front because of guys having issues on restarts and also just a handful of cautions that we've had here tonight with 4 counting, which obviously includes that first stage break and only stage break. But TJ's got a truck that I think he might be able to do something with right there. Those Nerditudes colors are proud up at the front, and that truck definitely stands out. I expect that Silverado to probably be up here in the top 3 later on.
Yeah, looking at the times, there are only 7 drivers cracked the 30.9, 8, and 7 second bracket. Everyone else in the 31s, but green flag is back out here. Great restart by the 38, able to barely clear the 28, and McKinney moves up right into his lane right away. Same story as the last restart. The 19 is going to drive directly to the inside of the 28. And also, just like last restart, the 28 and McKinney is going to clear the 19 of Richie Coy. Now TJ Bartell trying to look, but he backs up there, allows Richie to go single file for the top 4.
Yeah, McKinney got a little bit loose there off turn number 2. He's still trying to hunt down the 38. He's so close, right on the tailgate here off turn number 4. Wondering if he's going to do anything here as he works his way into one all over the back bumper of that Toyota Tundra.
As we're on board with the nose camera here of Cody McKinney once again. Last time he tried to make this pass, we did this same camera angle on the same part of the track on the backside center in turn 3, and we might see the same exact result. And actually, no, he doesn't get the turn in like he wanted this time. He backs up the corners and allow the 38 of Brandon to retake P1 here, as side by side for TJ Bartell and Lane Allen here for the top 5 spot.
A great battle right back behind those guys. I just think that McKinney didn't like the way that he was going to enter the corner and decide to just lay off a bit. And Richie Coy's going to get right to his inside there off the corner. McKinney gets a little bit loose off the corner, and Tyler Brown hanging right in there. One of those drivers involved in that last caution being clipped in the right front, but that is not slowing him down whatsoever. And right here off turn number 4, as you look at Richie Coy dig from the inside of his virtual cockpit presented by iRock 93.5, he is looking at one heck of a battle for the race lead as he closes up on his rival this season that we've talked about all season long. Look at the reaction time on Coy right there off the corner, and notice something there right there, Jeremy, on his right arm. It jolted back, so he is shifting right there into 3, shifting down into 3rd gear. Right here off the corner, he starts to get drive off, RPMs get high, right there starts shifting into 4th. So there is a bit of a shifting game here, even with trucks that don't have sequential gearboxes in them.
That's a great catch there, and that explains probably why he was getting loose on some of those corner exits, because you got 3rd gear in there. That's going to cause a lot easier of a tire spin. So you got to definitely have to manage that. Oh, we got some contact with the 23, the 29. They both get loose right in front of Joseph McKinney. These guys have been running side by side for quite a few laps now, including Williford and Michael Blackner, but made a little bit of contact. 23 had to move quickly down to the bottom, but able to maintain a straight line. We stay green.
Yeah, and I'm sure Brody Hanna is probably fuming a little bit up in his head here, as he works his way around too, because he has a very fast truck. Made a little bit of contact with Sylvain Jolly earlier, but a racing deal. But let alone he got put up on the outside wall on his part. So he has to be careful here with what he does, knowing that he has that damage. He's not going to be able to turn as good as some of these other guys. See him loose off the corner, saves it. What a heck of a save there by Brody Hanna right off turn number 4.
Still has that loose condition, just like what we saw right before stage in there. And that truck is using up the right rear, but he's taking to the bottom of the track too. There's a little bit extra grip there on the 3rd lane and the darker stuff. So if that truck continues to be this loose this early in the run, he might want to think about maybe shifting that truck up a little bit, utilizing that extra grip to rotate without getting over sideways there. Quickly jumping to the YouTube chats. Diane Chapman back on for the first time in a few weeks, saying go Ryan go, and then Paul Hoffer right after that saying go pack go. I'm assuming you're talking about just the racing pack in general. This is pretty exciting stuff as we're approaching halfway.
Yeah, some great racing we've had here all night for a race that we thought was going to be single file stretched out. It has been anything but that. But Cody McKinney still trying his best to get around Brandon Gagnon as you ride on board Ryan Chapman. I'm sure Diane's cheering him on, still watching the stream right now as Ryan is going to work, trying to get around Lane Allen. Look at how focused he is. He's probably only going to blink probably one time during this whole lap as you see him digging right now with those gloves. Off the corner, gets a little bit loose, but compared to Richie Coy's on board too, notice how Ryan Chapman's not shifting. That's actually a lot helpful for him. I mean, yeah, he's not getting the entry and exit that he wants, but at the same time, he's conserving that right front and that right rear, especially that right rear, by doing the not shifting, going into the corners and upshifting off as he looks for a pass on Lane Allen. He's going to complete that pass, actually. That's going to move him up inside the top 5. So Ryan Chapman having a fast truck underneath him here tonight off 2.
Power move there for Ryan Chapman. The 14 might have given him a little bit extra room there entering the corner. 27 did have the nose underneath the fender, but the 14 said it is yours. Now TJ Bartel looking to take 6th place now away from Lane Allen. Here's Lane, and the 14 is going to lose 2 spots as he gets to the line this lap.
Right there, Stephen Holmsworth just got wicked loose off the corner. That thing should have snapped around the Space Force number 5, almost involved in a major incident. And right back behind him, you see Sylvain Jolly doing a little bit of blinking there, probably a connection issue on his end. Hopefully that gets resolved, as it seems to already be doing so. But a great battle right here between this little pack. Look at how high up in the groove Brandon Elder is. He's the only guy up there I've seen doing that all night long. I don't know why, but it's a very odd lane choices. Oh no, he's up and into the wall. Hard contact. Looked like the Hail Melon there going into 1. I don't know if Brandon Elder is just trying something that nobody else is doing, as the 23 is loose off turn number 2, but that lane is not working for the 51 whatsoever. He needs to get off that upper groove as soon as possible.
Well, if he does it just like that, it worked out well for him. But those laps prior, I think I saw him actually hit the wall about 3 or 4 laps ago on the turn 3 entrance. But yeah, he is definitely getting all 4 of those tires in the dark stuff. They're one of the few trucks doing so here by himself or in a pack. And long term, it's not working for him right there. He just really had a lift on corner exit, allows the 23 to clear him entirely. Sylvain Jolly in the 8 now looking low, as the also the 5 almost went 3 wide with the 51 as we're coming off turn 4.
And they're almost 3 wide off turn number 4. Everybody loosey-goosey. Tire wear starting to play, obviously, into effect. These guys pitted on lap 47. It is now lap 69. So over 20 laps since we last pitted. And this is when we started to see... Yeah, nice. This is when we started to see a lot of drivers have a lot of tire wear issues here. And as they work around here on this 1.058 mile, oval in a sense, it's going to be hard to control these cars. This is obviously, we're not coming to a stage. We're going all the way to the end. So you're going to have to manage your tires for when you do take that one last final green flag stop. You're going to have to be careful. Make sure that you have enough tire under you to try to make passes and obviously get into the pits here when your time is coming.
I think this is a great time, Jason, to crank up the sounds of these trucks by having our segment called Turn Up the Tudes. We're going to listen to the trucks, turn our volumes down, and have a few laps of enjoyment of these high horsepower Craftsman Truck Series trucks. And we are back here live, full screen here with our mics back on as we're hearing all the trucks quack around this 1 mile Granite State here, New Hampshire, and the 38 of Brandon Gagnon still leading this thing with a really tight battle here with the 28 of Cody McKinney, the 19 of Richie Coy. 3 trucks that have really separated themselves over 2.5 seconds between these 3 trucks and the 4th place on back. So as you can clearly see, these 3 trucks are probably going to be who's going to be battling for this top spot here this evening.
Yeah, and these guys have been driving the hell out of these trucks. These 3 ducklings are ready to go to victory lane. The question is, who's it going to be? Brandon Gagnon has been so quick all night. That first stage didn't look to be his strong suit there on the second half of the run. Once he got past lap 20 to 25, Cody McKinney drove away clearly as McKinney's loose off 4, almost hits the wall. And obviously McKinney drove away at the end of the first stage. Now we hit the second, latter part of this race, and he has not been able to get around him. And also Richie Coy, we talk about super long run speed. Here he is right now battling for 3rd, 2nd, and 1st right now as they work their way to 3.
Yeah, who's it going to be like cheese and quackers here? The 19, the 20, and the 30. Still just having a great race. The 19 actually has a little bit longer a run setup, it seems like, because last time he wasn't able to keep up as fast and as long with the 28 and the 38. But this time he's running, the 3rd, 4th lane here. You see him all the way in the dark stuff, gets that little grip patch, runs down the track, able to straighten up that truck better than everybody else, get a really solid run off the corner exit. And that might be saving his tires too. If you have less turn in on corner exit, you're just saving that right front. So utilize that right rear a little bit more. This time he goes to the bottom of turn 3 and 4, trying to do it. And he has the same amount of speed, really. So that truck's just very versatile so far.
Really, really quick right now. I mean, honestly, all 3 of these guys are really quick. They're only separated by about 2 to 4 hundredths of a second, so they're all pretty even. I mean, Brandon Gagnon is kind of starting to settle in as the race leader. Cody McKinney looks like he's been kind of driving it a little too hard. He was the slowest out of those 3 guys, running a .821 compared to Gagnon's 708, and then obviously Coy's 792. So Gagnon's still the fastest driver as we have another cloud cover here over the New Hampshire Motor Speedway, the Magic Mile. Track temp only 107 degrees still, so this track still fairly hot, Jeremy, creating a lot of looseness, a lot of tire wear, and obviously you lay down hot rubber on this racetrack, you're going to have a hot groove, so these guys love it when they do, in fact, see that cloud cover.
Yeah, 100% here, and it only helps the track. We're down to 107. It's still blistering hot, but at least it's 6 or 7 degrees cooler than what it was when we started this thing off. I'm going to take a quick moment to shout out one of our partners, this time the Butt Kicker. Innovative hardware and software designed to give passionate gamers a deeper level of gaming immersion. The Gamer 2 unit is the standard in sim racing. It gives you all the haptic feedback from the transducer that sits underneath your sim chair. It gives you all the bumps and feels, which gives you that much needed feel really in that car seat or truck seat in this case, that you're going to need to perform at your peak performance with. So if you're interested in kind of completing your sim rig with this setup here, head over to thebuttkicker.com and give them the checkout of all their haptic feedback products that they have on their website. And that is thebuttkicker.com. And still, the top 3 is still the same here. Looks about 4th place, Tyler Brown. If you're watching this guy, he has actually picked up almost a half a second in the past 10 laps over these guys. So the 00's got something on this long run.
Yeah, I tell you what, he may or may not have the Butt Kicker, but I tell you what, he might not have a haptic response system, but he's definitely feeling the force feedback in that wheel right now. He is absolutely digging in that 00 machine right now. Been really quick recently, kind of really fast, if not faster than the leaders, about 3 to 2.5, 3 tenths faster than the top 3. So Tyler Brown, after finishing 2nd at Mid-Ohio last week to Richie Coy, he is starting to gain on these guys. And also another guy we talk about, TJ Bartell too as well, about 2 to 2.5 seconds faster than the guys up front. Not as fast as Tyler Brown, but he's still hanging in there despite those damaged vehicles, both the 75, which caused our lap 1 incident, and then the 0-0 of Tyler Brown getting clipped in the right front by Jolly a handful of laps ago. These two trucks are very, very stellar here tonight. I think if they put in the right adjustments, get the right cautions at the right time, or play the right strategy, I think these two trucks are very competitive, and I think they might have a chance for a top 3, if not the win.
And last lap there, the 28 has fallen off quite a bit. The 19 of Richie Coy got around him through turns 1 and 2. It dropped back to 28 quite a few tenths. And now he's sitting 1.3 seconds now as they came across the line that last time by over Brandon Gagnon. So the 19 of Coy now has his eyes set on that 38 as he's making quick progress back to the back bumper of that 38. So 19 right now seems to have the best truck underneath him as we're approaching lap 86 of scheduled 150.
Yeah, great racing we've had so far here tonight at the Magic Mile, and Richie Coy is slowly starting to catch in on Brandon Gagnon, the rookie from Nerd Motorsports, and the Fury Motorsports driver who's been so stout all season long between him and Cody McKinney. This guy is here to play. We talk about, obviously, some changes here and there. He says he likes to change up the scheme every once in a while. We're used to seeing him with the DeWalt Ford Mustang scheme with the JGR number 19 font, or the BMR Truck Series 19 font, you could say, with Christian Eckes drives in the Truck Series. And tonight he's got a nice Spam-colored race truck. It reminds me of the DeWalt colors from Carl Edwards or Matt Kenseth a few years ago, but it's got Spam, and he's also got a new number font on that number 19. So that scheme looking absolutely beautiful here tonight. It would be nice to be seeing it in Victory Lane if you're Richie Coy here tonight.
Yeah, 100% there is see the 0-0 and the 28 now neck and neck here off of turn 4. The 0-0 and the 75 just continue to make great progress, at least over the 28. But if you look at their lap times, they've actually fallen off a couple tenths since I mentioned to them about 5 laps ago over the top 2. Right now, Cody this time had a blistering fast truck. He had, remember, at the stage break, he had a 3.5 second lead, and now, the script has kind of flipped, and now Cody McKinney does not have the long run set up, and it's belonging to the 19 and 38 right now. But Cody needs to somehow figure out what he's going to do the rest of this run, make that pit stop, because I think we're only have one green flag stop if they go green the rest of the way.
Yeah, definitely only going to be one stop. You see Bartel. Oh, contact with the 0-0.
No.
Bartel around. Turn number 2.
Oh, man.
No yellow. What a heartbreaker for the 75 of TJ Bartel. Drove it in a little too much into 3, got into the left rear of Tyler Brown, and that drops him not 1, not 2, not 3, but so many positions. Bartel all the way back to the 13th, 14th position, battling with Michael Blackner off turn number 4. What a heartbreaker.
And that wasn't even TJ Bartel's fault. I kind of looked back on my cameras and I saw that Tyler Brown just came down a little bit further into that second groove on the track and just barely made contact with that right front fender. And yeah, that's going to put him all the way back to 13th place. So he's going to lose about 8 to 9 spots here. We're going to try to see what happened on the Nerd TV replay as we're going to back it up a little bit. Cameras focus on Lane Allen here momentarily, but we're going to cycle through and get to them. And right here is the contact. The point of, you see the 0-0, he's in the dark stuff, right? That's the 4th lane. And you can tell by the dashed white lines coming through turn 1 as we're going to go drone shot. Now he's creeping into the 3rd lane. Right now, the 75 is splitting the lines. He comes down slowly into 2nd, but look how this lane change the 0-0 Tyler Brown had. I don't think TJ had that in mind.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it's so hard for us to tell from some of the front stretch angles just because of how flat this track is. It's very hard unless you're seeing from a front or rear view look like we just saw right there off the corner. What a heartbreaker for TJ Bartel. I'm not going to lie. I would not be happy if I were him with Tyler Brown. They'll probably have a discussion in the Discord channel after this race is done. Maybe we'll see a little bit of something out of TJ Bartel. But look at this, up at the front. The gap was about 5, 6, 7 tenths. Now it's about 2 to 3 tenths. Richie Coy trying to go back-to-back here tonight in the FTSR Martin Sports Truck Series, and he is doing almost just that. Looking to the outside, going to try to arc the corner a little bit better than Brandon Gagnon here off turn number 2, and he is closing the gap a little bit, ever so slightly, heading down to turn number 3.
He does not want this rookie to this series. Brand new race number 1 from Brandon Gagnon. He does not want him to win, so I'm sure that 19 of Richie Coy has got plans to maybe outpit him, either come in first or utilize that long run after pit stops to make that pass happen. Either way, the 19 is very strategic, very smart. He knows what he's doing. He could just be playing the patience game, you know. So as we're almost to lap 100, so we got 56 laps to go as to get to the line this time. Pit stops, I would imagine, Jason, are going to be coming up somewhat shortly.
Maybe. I mean, we've run from 47 all the way to 94 now, so 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. About almost when they hit lap, 94, it's going to be about 50 laps. I expect them to probably pit here within the next 20 laps or so. I mean, obviously, it's been so long since these guys put on a fresh pair of boots, as they say, those Goodyear Eagles, 4 fresh tires, and obviously some fuel to make it all the way to the end, because these lap times have fallen off by a second or more, sometimes even 2 seconds, depending on who's driving the dang truck. So, I mean, these guys are probably going to be pitting here shortly, I can imagine. You might see guys try to undercut, but with tires being so key here tonight, I don't know if it's going to be the best option. But who knows? It might be. We'll have to see.
And you're just seeing the 29 and the 23. The 23 does pass Tommy Schaefer there. Those guys, after like the second or third caution, these two guys, Brody Hanna and Tommy Schaefer, have just been neck and neck all race long with loose handling trucks right now. But we're on board with the 75 and Bartel. So he's looking at the rear bumper of Sylvain Jolly in the 08 off of turn number 2 of the yard. TJ Bartel is currently sitting last guy in points there, 10th place. As he's got the number 9 of Marshall Johnson looking to make some progress here as he's getting a little bit closer. That TJ truck, he was the one who spun out about 10 laps ago with that contact with Tyler Brown. And so the tires are shot on that thing. So he's just kind of holding on. But he's maintaining an okay pace considering how much tire wear that he kind of lost there on that spin.
Hey, what though, Jeremy? He's driving like a bat out of hell, because just a lap ago, he ran a 31.8 flat, only less than a 10th off the race leaders. So that truck, despite having, worn out tires from spinning, that truck is still super fast. I really do think if you give TJ Bartel track position, you give him a late race yellow, I really think that 75 can do something, despite having 2, major incidents here tonight for that 75 Nerditudes Chevrolet Silverado.
Yeah, that's a great call on the lap times there, and he was faster than Richie Coy, who's second place. So definitely has the speed there. Focusing on Ryan Chapman, he's currently sitting in 7th place behind the number 5 of Hollingsworth, who's back up almost in the top 5. This guy has been all over the place. Started 16th, he moved his way up to 5th, I think maybe even 4th at one point. Dropped back to about 12th or 13th, and now he is sitting in 6th. So this guy has just had an up and down roller coaster type of an event here.
Yeah, I mean, talk about a guy who went in the back, had a little bit of an issue. Whoa, talk about another issue. Ryan Chapman, loosey-goosey, looked like he was getting ready to warm up the tires for a restart down the back straightaway. What a save by the driver of the 27 machine. Everybody, though, just seems to be getting looser and looser as this run progresses. Obviously, track temperature, it's dropped a little bit, about 104 degrees right now. So we're still over that 100-degree mark, 3 digits. It is not an easy run here for these guys whatsoever. You put these guys on a flat track with a hot surface compared to a hot surface on banking, there is not a lot of grip out there whatsoever by any means.
And as we are approaching pit stops here, we're going to kick this thing to our last picture-in-picture commercial break, and we'll be back as soon as these pit stops start to happen. And back to full screen action here. We've seen some pit stop happen. You see right now a bunch of guys on your screen. That's Ryan Chapman, Sylvain Jolly, Marshall Johnson,
Here
the
comes Richie
29
Coy.
Tommy Schaefer, Richie Coy, the last truck in line, like you just said. He's down pit road. We saw Cody McKinney. He exited pit road a half a lap ago. So different sequence of pit stops for your race leaders. We'll see how this plays out once everyone cycles through and gets back on the track.
So hard to pass here tonight. I think if you're Brandon Gagnon, you have to come into the pits this time by, to say the least. Don't give Richie Coy and Cody McKinney that advantage. And sure enough, he's going to listen to my advice up here in the broadcast booth. He's super hot coming to the pits. That might be a penalty, but it looks like he got it slowed down just enough. He'll slowly roll down pit road. Now the question is going to be is, will he be able to beat Richie Coy here, as Coy is off pit road? It's going to be a matter of, did Brandon Gagnon plan it just perfectly in order to beat Richie Coy out? But it might be Coy beating him here heading into one.
I can tell you he was definitely down to pit road speed as he got to the line, so there's going to be no issue on that end. Hits his stall perfectly. One of the last guys to make a pit stop is right now on the boards as the leader comes in. Fifth place on back is all one lap down, so as they cycle through, this is going to be one of the last guys. Now, this is lap 108 that he's making his pit stop. That's going to be 43 laps to make it to the end. A little bit shorter run than what we saw there in that first. And you see the 19 and the 18 both pass him right now. So Brody Hanna resumes as your race leader, has not come down for his stop just yet. But right now, the 19 of Richie Coy, who seemed to have a little bit of faster of a truck than the 38, all of a sudden has the lead over Brandon.
And we'll have to see. And I think Brody Hanna right now is probably just banking on having a late race yellow. Because, I mean, that is common. We can see it. You never know. Obviously, this is motorsports. You know, you never know. You know, so we'll have to see. I think Brody's definitely going to hold out till the longest he can. He knows that his night was pretty much ruined after the contact with Sylvain and then the contact with the outside wall. He was mid-pack ever since that outside wall contact. So definitely going to be waiting on a caution. But look at this right now. Brandon Gagnon only back by 1.7. That time by at the line, it looked like Coy was faster than him by a 30.395. That was his fastest lap of the race compared to Brandon Gagnon's 30.955. So major difference there in lap time. I expect Brandon Gagnon probably to start gaining up a little bit here pretty shortly, just because the tires are still coming into temperature.
Yeah, they should be there next couple laps here. Track's still at 104 degrees, so it's still nice and hot out there. But the 19 was, I'm really curious how the 19 is going to play this, because he had a faster truck than the 38. Now he's got the ground there by over a second at this point. But Tyler Brown's going to recycle back to third once the 23 Brody Hanna pits, whenever that might be, as he continues to run laps out there as your race leader. Cody McKinney, he was behind too, right? But now he is really behind. He is 5 seconds behind the race leader once things cycle through. So a little bit of slower pit stop for the 28. Hollingsworth does a great job. He did a shortcut on pit road, but still I think he lost a little bit of ground even after having the fresh tires. He's 13 and a half back now. Brody Hanna will be about 7 or 6 once he does pit, but it has spaced out the leaders quite a bit.
Yeah, it definitely has spaced out everybody quite a bit. Tyler Brown back now from Brandon Gagnon by about a second and a half. He's back from Brody Hanna by about 8.5 seconds. So everybody definitely spread out. And Stephen Hollingsworth has jumped up to 6 from being the first one to pit. TJ Bartel as well, another one who tried to undercut. Sure enough, it's pretty much worked out for him. He's running faster lap times than most of the guys behind him who are on fresher tires. So this worked out for the guy who's had 2 incidents here tonight. You see him trying to defend Lane Allen and Michael Blackner over Fury Motorsports there. Michael Blackner, again, having a great night tonight. He's been improving here. We saw him just a handful of races ago. He's having some great runs recently. Good to see him up in the front. But I expect Brandon Gagnon to maybe probably starting to reel in Richie Coy. We'll just have to see how Richie is able to get around lap traffic and how Brandon is able to use those 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles that he has now.
I bet you that 23 is just praying that there's a caution that comes out at any moment in time. Obviously running a really slower pace. He was 2.9. Now he's 1.2 the next lap. So a second and a half lost. That's the pace between old tires versus new tires. So next time at the line, I expect the 19 to be there at the back bumper, if not already on the side. Passing his teammate here, coming to turn 3. The gap is right there. Now it's nothing. The 19 is going to move up to the third lane and quickly get around the 23 on corner exit. New race leader cycled back to Richie Coy.
I'm sure now that Brody is behind the 19, he's going to wait till the 38 gets to him. He'll try to hold him off the best he can, but it's just not going to be enough because Brandon's got them 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles. And even from Richie just being behind Brody Hanna, I mean, it really was able to gain him just a little bit of ground, couple tenths here. But, I mean, Brandon's going to struggle to get around Brody, but he will make quick work of him. I expect Brody to probably pit here pretty shortly once the 38 gets back by him.
Yeah, that's a great point. I expect him to maybe not run them rough, but try to cause a little bit extra separation between himself and the 19. As the 38's here, we're going to see how Brody Hanna and the 38 decide how the pass is going to happen. The 38's going to look low, dive it down. 23 Hanna's going to give him plenty of room. Clean pass through there. And now it's time for the 00 to make his ground.
Tyler Brown, he's only back from Brody Hanna by about 2 seconds. He's going to be there in no time. I tell you what, though, Jeremy, what would really shake this all up, because Brody Hanna still staying out, is obviously a caution. But with everybody so spread out, I just don't know if it's going to happen. We're going to have to take a look here at the track map if it is provided, just to see how spread out everybody is. Look at how spread out everybody is. There's not really any big bundles until you get back to about past 8th place there. Sitting in 9th, I think, with Ryan Chapman, some other guys heading into turn 1. This track is very spread out right now.
Yeah, super spread out. You can see a couple of clusters there on the backstretch and a few on the front. The corners right now a little quiet. But yeah, overall, just a lot of gap between these guys. And this is what we talked about here in the pre-race show, where things get really spaced out. This is exactly how we expect New Hampshire at some point in time in any race to see it. As long as it stays green, it is super expected. But Brony's still carrying it out there, now getting passed by Tyler Brown. He's going to fall back to 4th. And we're coming up to lap 120 next lap by. So that's going to leave 30 laps. Almost 20, 25 laps are going to be different on his tires. It's not going to make a difference. He's going to be quick, obviously, but he's not going to make that ground all back up. So he's still just right now hoping for a caution to try to do something to keep himself in that top 10.
He pits right now. Yeah, he's going to have 25, 26 lap pressure tires, but it ain't going to be jack like you just said, because he's going to be so far. He's going to be 1-2 laps down. He's never going to be able to make up that ground. So he's basically going to be trapped. He is banking on a caution until his tires, his fuel cannot take it anymore. And with this cloud cover, it's going to help him with grip a little bit, but he just continues to slide back further and further. Just lost 4th place to Cody McKinney, who has the fastest lap time of the race tonight, 30.348 for the driver, the 28. He was 2nd coming into the points tonight. And with Richie being 1st, this obviously, even with the stage win from Cody McKinney, I do expect Richie Coy to probably put a few more points in between Cody McKinney and himself if this race were to end right now the way it is.
Yeah, 100% there. And that gap between 1st, 2nd have not really changed. We're going to shout out one of our partners here. This time, TWRS, Team Watson Racing Setups, a leading name in quality, affordability, and professionalism, with a staff of decorated, distinguished, and dedicated setup builders. TWRS delivers top-notch race and championship winning setups to the iRacing garages of drivers across the simulation community. Check out a full list of services and the pricing at teamwatsonracing.com to get yourself in victory lane today.
Yeah, and obviously everybody's going to have some sort of fast setup tonight. Maybe some of these guys using a Team Watson Racing setup. Maybe Richie Coy probably got himself a Team Watson Racing setup over there. They obviously always build fast setups, so definitely check them out. But Richie Coy, he's not pulling away as much as he was. Brandon Gagnon still continuously, lap after lap, it's like he loses a couple tenths, then he gains a couple tenths. So I don't know if Richie Coy is going to have the faster speed on the super long run, like we've seen him do in the last 20 to 15 laps at the end of these races, or if Brandon Gagnon is going to be able to close that gap in. He's been so fast, made a huge adjustment to that truck probably after the first stage, was able to save his tires better, and obviously was able to hold off these leaders a lot more. Had he have pitted before Richie Coy, he'd probably have the race lead right now. But just because Coy pitted a lap earlier, it goes to show you what fresh tires mean. And obviously pitting early when you're just continuously wearing out tires more and more. Richie Coy played him pretty well right there by pitting just a lap short.
The only battle on the track right now, side by side, is the 22 of Michael Blackner and the 33 of Sherwood Williford, and the 4 of Bobby Terrell, who got that truck almost completely repaired from that early wreck on the backstretch. Oh, as Michael Blackner slaps the outside wall pretty hard there to allow Williford to gain a few truck links over him, bring Bobby Terrell into the picture. Only a truck link separates them, and right behind them, Marshall Johnson. So 12th through 15th is starting to heat up right now.
Yeah, great little battle right now. Michael Blackner just struggling for grip. You could see him right now. He's just moving out of the way. Great sign of respect on Michael Blackner's end. 9 way up the racetrack there throughout the center of the corner. He's going to be able to correct it and go up in front of the 22. He'll clear him off the corner. That's the 9 of Marshall Johnson, one of those guys who went around earlier on in this race in turn 1, I believe. And obviously, Bobby Terrell went around off turn number 2, hard impact with the front nose of that F-150 off 2 down to the infield grass. So these guys are 2 trucks that have wrecked here tonight, and they're still having solid runs up inside the top 15. Great little battle they're putting on here as we look at the 2 cars in the 20s, 27 Ryan Chapman, 29 Tommy Schaefer. Great battle between those 2 down the backstretch in the 3.
Side by side for almost an entire lap, these 2 have been, but the 29 of Tommy Schaefer, even on the flat part of lane 1, able to get great rotation on center and clear the 27 off a corner exit of 4. Puts himself up now into 9th place rather. Drops 27 to Ryan Chapman back down to 10th, and then there's a lot of gap between him and the next person behind, which is Brody Hanna, who continues to fall back. Actually, he just made his pit stop there as my scoring does update, and you see him on pit road there. So he's going to drop back at least 1 lap entirely, maybe even 2, like you said there, Jason. So that's going to put, or going back to the leader just momentarily, Richie Coy has got a 1.7 second lead. We see Brandon made that couple tenths up, but as you said earlier, let's see if he drops back a couple tenths and keeps that that swing of back and forth.
And touching back on something that you said earlier on, Jeremy, I don't remember if it was during green, which I actually now recall, yes, it was. You were saying earlier that Richie Coy is so good, beats the 38 and the 28 into the corner. But obviously, maybe just being that good in the corners cost him a little bit. As strong as he is going in, he lost about 3/4 tenths of a second to Brandon Gagnon there those last couple laps. And actually, Brandon's been the fastest truck out of those 2 the last couple laps. We'll have to see how the lap times end up this time around. 31.385 for Coy, 31.392 for Gagnon. So those trucks pretty even, but Gagnon's still back by 1.25 seconds right now here off 2. He's trying to look for some room to try to gain on Richie Coy.
It's the closest he has been since they both merged back on track after their final green flag pit stop this evening. As they're cycling through this lap, Brandon, this is his best chance. He's got 20 laps to do it, so he needs to gain almost a tenth at this point. I think about 0.09, 0.08 each lap if he wants to get there, and he gains 0.6 that time there at a 1.55 back now from the 19. So slowly but surely making progress, but will there be enough time? That's going to be the story here for the final 19 laps.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, I just don't know if Coy's going to be able to hold off Brandon Gagnon. He's made all the right adjustments here tonight. Maybe that 3rd and final stop tonight was going to be the stop that did him just right on the long end. Again, faster than Coy by 0.05 of a second last time around. The gap is almost down to 1.5 seconds. Coy, though, gets a little bit better run off the corner. I think Gagnon might have either got loose or possibly hit the wall off 2. He just lost more than 0.5 seconds off turn number 2. Got really loose here and off turn number 2. that played big dividends, and Brandon Gagnon is going to have to try his hardest to catch Richie Coy now if he wants a chance at this victory. And yeah, that gap, 4/10 of a second, almost 5 between Richie Coy and Brandon Gagnon that last time around.
Yeah, Brandon drove it really far down into turn 2, got onto the apron part of the track, and as soon as his left front tire hit that, his right rear just gave up all grip and had a huge moment sliding all the way through turn 2, and he did lose all that ground that he was working on. So now this is out of his reach, essentially, unless there's an issue from the guy who doesn't make issues, that being Richie Coy. So I think the 38 is at this point just going to settle in, accept second place unless something weird happens. But he's trying all he can still with 16 laps to go.
You never know. I mean, he still gained, even though he dropped to 2.2 seconds. It's down now almost below 2 seconds. So if Richie Coy keeps catching this traffic as he's behind his Fury Motorsports teammate, Michael Blackner, going to put him a lap down. Blackner will do what he has always done all race. If he's going a lap down or knows he's slower, courteously gets out of the way. Good gesture by a fellow sim racer. I love to see that. Good driving on his end. But, you know, Brandon Gagnon, every lap just seems to be faster and faster. Richie Coy, last time around, slower than Brandon Gagnon by 0.3 of a second. The gap is back to 1.7, almost 1.8 seconds. These guys have just been so even here, Jeremy. It's kind of interesting because we still have 15 laps to go. You don't know how these guys' tires are going to be in 5 laps. Will Coy's tires start to shred more? Will Gagnon's tires start to shred more? We don't know. That's just the interesting part of racing and why you have to be on the binders, focused every lap, and making sure you're hitting your marks.
Yeah, 100% there. Is he getting another 10th that time around? But coming up to 13 laps to go at the line, there's still got to be a huge moment from the 19. I believe it personally for him to make that ground up as he's going to pass the 22. Michael Blackner puts him a lap down there. And these guys have almost a 10-second lead over third place Tyler Brown. That shows you how much faster these guys are comparatively to the rest of the field. Tyler Brown third place, like I said, 9 seconds back. Cody McKinney in fourth, who was on stage 1. Remember, he was the fastest truck in stage 1. Fourth place truck now 14.5 seconds back over your race leader. So just a massive shift in power here from the 28 to fall back. Still a great run overall in fourth place, right? As the 38 gets loose once again off of turn 4. But just so much speed in these top 3 trucks at the moment.
Yeah, and when you look back at Cody McKinney, I think it was safe to say, Jeremy, just from that first stage alone, that looking back at Cody McKinney's speed, I mean, it looked like he was going to have the truck to beat. He pulled out by almost 4 seconds there at the end of that first stage. And now to be sitting fourth, 15 seconds back, I mean, that's a big statement from Cody McKinney and the rest of these drivers, you know, to be able to kind of close that gap in on McKinney, get the jump on him, and just really play strategy better, smarter, and have better drive off the corners, better entry, basically everything that has to do with this track here tonight.
Yeah, 100% there. As the 8 momentarily gives way to the 00, he makes a clean pass there. That's to put the 8 a lap down a little bit further. These guys have now 10 laps to go as Richie comes through turn 4 here. Going to accept 10 to go this time around. It is all but over here as we're just logging laps. Everyone's basically spaced out over a second from each other, except for the 2 guys right in front of your race leader. That's Marshall Johnson in the 9 and 33 of Williford. They're battling for position essentially as the leader comes up. So I don't know if this is going to play any part or if they're going to give way.
I think they're going to give way. I mean, these 2 are very respectful guys. You know, Sherwood Williford's had a pretty tough season B, to say the least. I mean, he's been caught up in some things, had some runs here and there that have been really solid, you know. So I expect him to give way to Coy. I mean, he wants to just be courteous. He knows he's not as fast as the leader right now. So, and the same goes for the number 9 machine of Marshall Johnson. I mean, yeah, they're sitting 11th and 12th right now, but I mean, they're still battling for position, so they're still going to run hard. But sure enough, look at Sherwood Williford. He'll give the bottom lane to Richie Coy, go all the way to the top side. Good piece of driving there out of the 33 of Williford.
Yep, and there he goes to the outside, letting the 19 by on the inside. Kind of contends with him, runs side by side with him down the front straightaway. It's going to choke up the corner for the 19 just a touch as he slides up into the 3rd lane real quick. where the 19 likes to run his truck right now around this track, as we have 8 laps to go here, 7.5 now. The 33 didn't let up too much, but now if the 9, if he has a hard time with the 19, this might help the 33 get ahead.
Yeah, it might help 33 just a little bit, but I mean, everybody seems to be really in their designated areas kind of right now. You don't really want to push the issue too hard, put yourself in a bad place. It's going to take you out of a good finish right now. I mean, Marshall Johnson is not going to catch Ryan Chapman unless something happens. He's back from him by 3.5 seconds almost. So just going to come shy of a top 10 if the race were to end up right now. But good recovery, though, for Marshall Johnson after having an issue earlier on, spinning in the center of 1 and 2. So great driving by him tonight. Really great driving by everybody, even despite guys who were involved in wrecks. I mean, we're talking about wrecks. I mean, for gosh sakes, TJ Bartell got around Cody McKinney. He's sitting P4 right now, even with the undercut. Stephen Hollingsworth had an issue earlier. He's up to 6. Sylvain Jolly and Stephen Hollingsworth both were involved in that incident going into turn 3. They are 6th and 7th. Looking at other guys, obviously Marshall Johnson sitting 11th. And Bertie Han is still right now currently sitting P14. So everybody who's been involved in some sort of incident here tonight doing some great jobs as Hollingsworth moves past Cody McKinney there for the 5th spot to be inside the top 5.
Couple of different stories here. The 9 and the 19 duke it out there. Couple of words exchanged, and also the pass for the 75 and the 28. Bartel got around Cody McKinney real quick, but at the same token, that came to a little contact right in the center of 1 and 2 between those two guys. Almost sent Cody McKinney to the outside wall there. As now we have 4 laps to go as they get to the line this time. I want to quickly jump over to the chat since he's Scott Martin back in there saying great broadcast, Jeremy and Jason, top notch. Appreciate you, Scott, for jumping in one last time before we close this thing out. Hopefully you have watched most of it and enjoyed it. They see right now the 38 and the 33. 38's going to pass him now. Clean pass overall. We're going to come now to 3 laps to go here for the New Hampshire 150.
I think Brandon Gagnon right now is just hoping and praying right now to the racing gods that somehow, some way there is a caution. And especially TJ Bartell, a guy who's been so fast, hasn't really been able to showcase that speed after getting involved in that lap 1 incident. And that really leaves me to the thought, Jeremy, of what if TJ Bartell wasn't involved in that lap 1 incident off turn number 4? What if he was able to showcase that talent, showcase that truck? Because by far, it has been easily one of the top 3 to top 5 trucks that have been found. So it's been really interesting to see TJ Bartell come all the way up from the back up all the way to the front.
Yeah, 100% there. Lap and a half left to go now for that 19 and that Spam Ford F-150 of Richie Coy. He's got nothing but daylight in front of that nose. No worries whatsoever. 1.8 seconds separates the 19 and the 38. 1 lap to go. White flag is out for the 19. The next flag will end this event. And this is basically the winning moment here. We're going to talk about it all lap long. The 19 had great speed for 2nd and 3rd place. Cody McKinney had some issues after stage break. And then 19's just been on a rail since then, coming through turns 3 and 4 for the final time. And for the only 2 multi-winner guys in this field, the 19 is going to extend his point lead over the 28 of Cody McKinney. Job well done for the 19 of Richie Coy.
Sure, Martin Sports winning moment right there. Look at Richie Coy. He's breathing right now. He's talking. He can finally laugh a little bit. He can move around. He's been digging inside his virtual cockpit, sighing a sigh of relief there. He had to fight really hard, man. I mean, our boy Brandon Gagnon, he really put up a fight here tonight because Richie usually tends to pull away from most of the field. But hey, that's this guy's 3rd win in a row. He won at Mid-Ohio last week, and then he won it on Fuel Strategy just a couple weeks ago as well at the Chicagoland Speedway. And heading into Pocono next week, I'm sure Richie Coy is going to be just as fast. But that number 19 Spam F-150 is going to look really good when it gets to Martin Sports victory lane.
Yeah, 100% there. This will be his 4th checkered flag of the season. Cody McKinney, the only other multi-winner here with 2 wins and only 3 winners for the first 7 or 8 races now in this season. He's going to do his classic Polish lap around this 1 mile facility, as we're going to go over the unofficial finishing results here tonight. For the New Hampshire 150, Richie Coy is going to be P1. Brandon Gagnon, opening race here at FTSR, finished the second. Tyler Brown third. TJ Bartell in fourth. Stephen Hollingsworth fifth. Cody McKinney sixth. Sylvain Jolly in seventh. Lane Allen eighth. Tommy Schaefer ninth. And the last truck on the lead lap in 10th place, 27 of Ryan Chapman.
11th tonight, Marshall Johnson coming home with a top 11 finish. Good job and good recovery for him. Sherwood Williford, 12th tonight. Brody Hanna finishes 13th. Michael Blackner, 14th. Colby Mice finishes 15th tonight. 16th, Joey McKinney. 17th, Bobby Terrell. 18th, Alan Duranko. 19th, Brandon Elder. 20th is Robert Malikian. 21st, James Torrey in the 6th. 22nd, Tony Solari, first car out tonight. And then Austin Gassion, Tyler Granat. They did not start tonight. They finished 23rd and 24th.
And that's going to bring us to a full screen commercial break. We're going to get our top 3 together, and we'll be back afterwards to talk to them about their thoughts for tonight's race. And welcome back here for the Martin Sports Post-Race Show, as we got our top 3 gathered up to get their thoughts on tonight's New Hampshire 150. First guy we're going to bring in is the 00, Tyler Brown of Schaefer Racing, and that Roasted Gems Coffee Chevrolet Silverado. Tyler Brown, welcome.
What's up?
Hey, man, your truck was pretty solid overall. Up and down kind of day, within the top 5, a couple times outside the top 5, but overall just had great speed and able to finish 3rd place. No one really around you. You had 5-second gap behind you, I think about 8 or 9 in front of you. So you just kind of ran your own race there on the 2nd stage. So just kind of walk us through your night, and how did you prepare for tonight's race?
Yeah, we didn't really prepare as much as we should have. I put a little bit of practice in, and we were playing with setups more than anything. But I finally said enough was enough and wanted to focus on the long run. I felt like we had that there, but early on at the beginning of the race, I think first or second lap, we got into a little hiccup, and then I had some damage on that green flag pit stop, but I couldn't take any because I knew Cody was right there. And if I didn't have that damage, I feel like I don't know if I'd have had anything for Richie and Brandon. Them guys were pretty fast, but I don't know if the gap would have been as big as it was, between me and them.
Yeah, and Tyler, man, great job tonight. You finished second last week at Mid Ohio. You finished third here tonight, man. So that's 2 podiums in a row for you guys in that 00 team. You guys head to Pocono next week, one of my favorite tracks, my home track. How do you take your third place run? Do you think you can get to P1 up on the board next week and try to make it a 2-3-1 race right there?
Well, I hope so. That's what we're chomping away, trying to get some good finishes and hopefully bust off a win here soon. But Pocono is not one of my better tracks, so I'll probably end up on the trailer or either top three or on the trailer is how I look at Pocono. Um, it's a big track. I look at it kind of like a plate track, and I'm just not any good at them, man. I don't find them as fun as I do these other tracks that require a little bit more of the driving, gas and brake on it and off it and whatnot.
Third place are in the trailer, so records or checkers essentially for you, it sounds like. But yeah, carry this momentum for the rest of the season. I'd love to talk to you more and more here in the booth with us at Nerd TV. But final thoughts for tonight. The floor is yours, man.
Just got to thank Russell Jims, Brody, FTSR, the league, everybody that puts everything on. You guys as the broadcasters. I love racing in this league. We get a lot of good, clean races. And Tommy Schaefer, my teammate, I wish he'd had a better run, but I got to thank him. He done all the paint on the truck, and he takes care of all that stuff. And all in all, just everybody that's involved, I'd like to thank him. And I had a blast, running the race tonight.
That's a beautiful looking truck too. Our producer Dustin Loxton, he probably appreciates those colors being a Chicago Bears fan. But nonetheless, man, congratulations on your third place finish this evening. We'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Yes, sir. That was Tyler Brown on the 00 there. Now we're going to turn our attention to second place driver Brandon Gagnon, who starts this race for the first race ever at FTSR. Brand new to Nerd Motorsports, and just a bunch of newness around this guy. Welcome, man. Congratulations on P2.
Thank you, man. It was a lot of fun. Just talking to Richie, congratulating on the win. Very fast, a lot of clean drivers, and it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. So great series to put on.
So kind of learned about you along the way, and I heard this like this is your first competitive race in quite some time. So what did you do with yourself personally and on the sim to get yourself prepared back for a 150 lap race here?
Personally, nothing at all, Jeremy. I literally just let the anxiety ride the entire time. I ran that first stage and I saw Cody get by me. I'm like, I got to figure something else out. Peyton Howe spotted for me in the second half. And he said there's grip on the apron, get all 4 tires down there. I'm like, I don't think I can turn that far left, but I'll give it a try. And I found it. And then when we made that final pit stop, Richie was 1.8 ahead of me. And I tried to get the fresh tires down that apron, and it just wasn't the same when the cloud went over.
Yeah, Brandon, congratulations, man. You were absolutely digging in that number 38 Nerditudes Toyota Tundra here tonight, man. Obviously, welcome to FTSR. Welcome up here to the Nerd TV booth. Hopefully, we'll see you around more, obviously being our driver. But unbiasedly, man, you drove a great race, very smart race. You were holding up the 28 and obviously the 19 for a majority of the race. You were doing a really good job keeping them behind you because it was just so hard to pass here tonight. But just because of the competition here tonight, what did you expect for your first FTSR race, and how are your feelings towards it after this one?
I did not expect this. I expected just a mid-pack, let me figure this out. But when I laid down the pole, I was like, well, I might actually have something here. And huge shout out to TWRS setups. The thing was bad fast the whole time. I was able to hold those guys up for a little while. I felt like I could take their line away. But once I noticed they were faster, I just kind of wanted to move over and just have a clean race and bring it home in one piece. So very excited for P2.
That you did there at one point in turn 2. You got loose toward the end of the run, and glad that you were able to not spin it out entirely. But yeah, just congratulations once again. P2 opening race, first time in a while behind the wheel. So hopefully you can kind of improve, and maybe we'll see you in victory lane here shortly. But we're going to give you the floor. Final thoughts before we let you go this evening.
Super excited for the opportunity. Dustin, Nerditudes, Jeremy, shout out for the paint that you threw together. Looks phenomenal. Studio Displays, Martin Sports, ETOF 21 Sports, Roasted Gems Coffee, Nerditudes, iRacing, iFlag, some Racing Points. everybody that's allowed me to jump back on this sim, have fun, and the support behind it is phenomenal. So won't be here next week, but excited to be back in this great, great series you guys put on, and looking forward to the future a lot. So thank you all.
Absolutely, man. Congratulations once again on P2, and we will see you on the next race that you catch with us.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
You too. And that was that 38 there, Brandon Gagnon. And now it's time to load up the Martin Sports victory lane scene as we're going to bring in the 19 of Mr. Richie Coy. Mr. Richie, congratulations, man, for the 4th time this season, you grabbed the checker flags.
Spam you very much, my friend.
I made a couple of puns myself there during the pre-race, at least talking about it over with Dustin and Jason here. But man, that truck, stage 1, it looked like you might have had something there. 28 was really fast, had a 4-second advantage over everybody else. And then stage 2 happened. You and the 38 just took off. And then the pit stop happened on the green. Where'd you come from?
I was just talking with Brandon about that. I'm not exactly sure. I'd have to go back and look to see, but I was right behind him when I pitted, and then when I came out, I was like almost 2 seconds in front of him. And at that point, clean air and a fresh track, I was sailing.
Richie, obviously, congratulations here tonight, man. That's 3 wins in a row for you, man. 4th win of the season, as far as we're concerned. I mean, you guys had a bad fast truck all night long. It's like you started in the first stage, it was fast. And then once you started that second part of the run, it was quick. You started getting quicker. And then obviously that last third of the race, man, you guys really put something together. And obviously you have 3 wins in a row right now. You head to Pocono next week. How do you feel going into there and knowing that, you have so much momentum built up from these previous 3 races?
Well, once again, my team put a fantastic setup underneath the car. This was one of Brody's setups, and it was fantastic. And I was kind of pacing myself at the beginning because I was starting 4th, and there was a couple cautions in the beginning, so I didn't want to roll into any issues, and I was trying to take my time and with Brody. And then when Brody got loose coming off of 2, I thought we were going to wreck, and he got up in the wall, which it really sucked that he got up in the wall because it gave him some damage. And but yeah, every stint I just got a little bit faster, a little bit more comfortable in the car. And the first stint I didn't even shift; I wasn't shifting. And then I started shifting, and I'm not the biggest fan of shifting on an oval, but you got to do what you got to do. But yeah, and next week, Pocono is probably one of my worst tracks. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Tyler Brown was saying as well. He said he's going to bring it home. Top 3 are going to be on the hauler before the race is over with. But, you got so much momentum on your side right now. Maybe you'll find something there. Maybe the team will find some magic for you to try to contend at least inside the top 5 or top 10. But floor is yours, man, for the 4th time. You're a winner. What's your final thoughts?
Well, I got to thank Brandon for running clean and welcome to the league. That was a pretty good opening race for him. So congrats to him on a good run. And Cody, we ran with Cody for a while. He was fast and clean too. So, we got a lot of fast guys in this league, and it's 3 in a row, 4 wins, but you got to work for them. They're not like easy to get here. So I savor everyone that I get. So we got a bunch of guys that can win on any particular night. Brody and even Tony. Tony's got his share of wins. So I mean, everybody and anybody can win. So it's thanks to the league for that, for great competition. Thanks to my team once again. Hopefully Tony's mom and dad are watching, and thanks to the nerds for another great broadcast. I watched your broadcast last night, by the way.
Thank you,
Awesome.
man.
Yeah. I'm glad you're able to.
Another great show.
Besides butchering all the names.
Yeah, besides that
listen,
part.
some of those names were I was like, I don't even want to try to pronounce some of those names. So you guys did a great job last night, like you do all the time. So thanks again for putting on a great show.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You make us look good.
We try our best. Dustin, he does most of the magic. We're just here to kind of vocalize things, but Dustin's got all the great graphics for us. But yeah, man, appreciate all the compliments. That's awesome. And we're looking forward to see you on Monday.
I got another new paint scheme for next week too.
Oh boy.
Oh, okay. I saw a new number font. I got a new paint skin again. So got some new partners with you this season, huh?
Yeah, we're trying to get one for every race. I think I've done one for every race so far. You guys missed the Schmucker's car last week.
Man,
And
might have to re-roll it out before season's end.
I think the next week's actually right now is my leading favorite. So you guys have to wait a week to see what it is.
Okay.
Like Christmas.
It is like unwrapping a new Christmas. This week
There
it was
you go.
spam, some spicy ham in Victory Lane.
Oh.
Well, keep spamming those wins, man. We'll see you soon.
Come on.
I'll spam you guys later.
All right.
Oh, of course.
It's great.
Have a good one, Richie. Congrats.
Good night.
And that was Richie Coy there. A bunch of fun to always talk to him. A lot of the guys too, but that guy's such a character. But Jason, we're going to close this thing out. Great race overall. What's your final thoughts?
Man, what a race. And obviously talking to Richie Coy too, I mean, he says it, you got to savor these wins like it's your last in a sense. And obviously this is just the sim world, but obviously this is the most that some of these guys can do. I know like myself, I don't have that money. So this is the closest thing you can get to real racing. When you're in a league this competitive, it's really hard to come across wins like this. And he's right, man. Any given week, any damn one of these guys can come out here and win. Brandon Gagnon, from our side, our neck of the woods, I'm a little bit more familiar with the people that he talks to and knows of. So congrats to him on a second place run, especially for us over here at Nerditudes. Good to see our driver run second. And Tyler Brown, good second and third place. There's so many guys every week who can come out here and run good. Cody McKinney, Richie Coy have dominated the season. But there's a lot of guys getting really, really strong. And even if so, we were talking to Brandon just before, we were talking to Scott Martin before we went back on the air, and all the people who want to join this league. And if you want to join, go to FTSR.net. I mean, or fullthrottlesimracing.net. There's just so much opportunity in this league. There's so much potential. Such a great group of guys. We love calling this race. I love calling this series personally. It's one of my favorites. If not, it is my favorite to call the FTSR. And this thing is so competitive every damn week, man. I had a blast calling tonight for sure.
Yeah, I mean, New Hampshire does space out, but overall, like, there was a lot of passing regardless, more so than most other leagues can provide at New Hampshire. So, yeah, just be a part of the action, like Jason said, FTSR.net. Dustin, he didn't make you sweat, that being Jason, so much back there. He's
sorry.
giving you some breaks, man.
Sorry, Walt.
Yeah, it happens. We deserve a break every once in a while. No, they put on a hell of a show. Sometimes it's hit or miss when it comes to a track like New Hampshire. I mean, sometimes that race can just get strung out, and on the production and broadcast side, it gets tough. But I tell you what, these guys kept the racing action all over. There wasn't passing or battling for the lead. I mean, they were battling for fifth place side by side, or they were battling for 11th, 3 wide. So, I mean, they kept the racing action all the way around, all the way through green flag pit stops and, throwing in pit strategy and everything else. Exactly what we expect from all the guys and all the drivers here at FTSR.
Yeah, 100%. And yeah, definitely join in. The more the merrier. We'd love to give you a shout out and whatnot if you want to join in. And we'll talk to you if you get in the top 3 of the Nerd TV booth and whatnot. But we're going to close this thing out. Jason did a great job of shouting out the league. So I'm going to jump down to Mach 1 Performance, who does the Monday sponsor for the Cup Series here every single Monday night. You'll catch us there at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. Central. It's a race fabrication shop that's produced champions and winners of all sorts of racing divisions. Find them on Facebook at facebook.com/Mach 1 Performance. Sim Racing Points, they take care of everything that FTSR does for the point system, all the stats, everything that you need to know. So you can go to simracingpoints.com, check them out, or just go to the FTSR site too. They have everything live time, real time. You'll probably see it if you go right now. You'll probably see the points updated. Martin Sports, top quality apparel to make you look stylish and feel comfortable, and also part of the sponsor for the Wednesday Night Truck Series. You can find them at martinsports.gg. iRacing iFlag, notifications just a fraction of a second faster without ever leaving the focus from everything that's going on in front of you. You're going to find them at iRacingIFlag.com. The Butt Kicker, the ultimate feel from the race car with their haptic response system. Check out their whole haptic products lineup at thebuttkicker.com. Team Watson Racing Setups, you heard it from Brandon, finished P2 after taking some time off. The setups are obviously pretty fast for him. So get all the top quality professionally built setups from them at teamwatsonracing.com. And then lastly, Roasted Gems, roasted coffee just for you. Start your day the right way with roastedgems.com. All right, guys, we're going to close out this broadcast tonight. We're going to catch you Monday here. Same track with the next gen cars. We'll see how they tackle this 1 mile track. But until then, you guys stay safe and always get your nerd on.